Hello, it's Michael Devlano from Cloud Advisory. I wrote the book, as you may know, Automate and Grow. And what I wanted to talk to you about, particularly if you are selling any business-to-business services, and I sell, mainly software and related consulting, Salesforce customization and development. Maybe you're in the same boat. Maybe you're an IT services company, or maybe you're a software provider or a SaaS company. If you are selling business to business, you probably realize that selling to a business is a little bit complicated on the front end. So there's a lot of power today that's gone into the hands of buyers as they do a lot of research before they ever talk to us. So there's some stuff right now that's changed and that's working and not working. And what I wanted to talk to you about today was really creating the first step in this, which is bridging the gap between you and potential prospects. And what you need to do that, in order to do that, I think, is create a traffic and conversion plan, and then based upon that plan is a system. So if you're in that the same sort of business that I'm in, or doing any sort of B2B selling, then hopefully this is helpful, and this is an idea that you can take and implement yourself. Or if you need help, of course, we can always talk about that. Okay, so more importantly, what is a traffic and conversion plan? So really what the plan is, and I write about this in the book and I actually give out worksheets. So if you want that, you can either grab the book or just message me and I will send you worksheets. The first part of the plan is knowing, it's really important stuff like who is your ideal client, what is their buying journey, and what are in the 4 phases of a buying journey, what are the questions that they are asking and what are the answers that they need to those questions. And when they get those answers, what advances them to the next stage? Okay, so the plan is really to document that, right? Like, who is your ideal client? What are the 4 stages to their buyer journey? And then what questions are they asking? And I'll talk about why that's important. And what answers do they need to advance from each stage? Okay, so in a buyer's journey, this is really the process that a buyer or anyone that's looking for what you're selling is going through to solve a problem. So there's kind of 4 stages to this that you want to understand, because everything that you build in your system eventually, because you want to build a system that helps people when they're not talking to you, when they're anonymous, right? And our goal in this whole system is to get more people that match our ideal client profile to go from anonymous to known, to the point where they're talking to us and then they're considering buying from us. And that's when we really get to sell to them face-to-face, or maybe we have a digital sales model, or maybe a hybrid model, but we won't get into that yet. So your traffic and conversion plan says, who are they, and what are the stages of their buyer's journey? And there's really kind of 4 stages, which is, I think the first stage of any buyer's journey is where a buyer has a problem, and let's say they're aware of it. Okay, and the second stage is they're, looking for a solution to that problem, right? The third is they're looking at options to solve it. And the fourth and final stage is they're picking between alternatives. So this is, they've done a bunch of research and they're at the point where they know they want to solve the problem. They've put the money, time into a budget. There's budget, timing, and need, right? And they're going to pick someone to solve the problem with. And that might be themselves, or that might be a provider like you, right? So your business solves a particular problem and we're trying to match you up. Now the question is that, in your buyer's journey, what you need to understand, or what you need to think about, is what are the questions that are being asked at each of these stages, and what answer advances from one stage to the next, right? Why this is important is a few things. because so much research is being done before a new prospect ever talks to us. If they're serious about solving a problem, you might be the one that makes them aware of a problem. But sometimes, if you've ever seen, like, my wife watches The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, and if you're the guy or the girl that goes up and tells the Bachelor or the Bachelorette that there's someone in the house that's, they've got a problem in the house, they've got someone that's not serious, you know what always happens is that's the person that gets bulleted next along with the person that's the problem. They don't want to hear bad news. So this is kind of like an outbound, inbound discussion. But what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're being found by these people where they're asking the questions, right? So where are they going to ask questions? A lot of times those questions are being typed into a search engine, right? So I'm searching for a solution to my problem. I'm typing in because I'm looking for answers. And the way search engines work is, they're going to find content, articles that answer those questions, right? Now our goal is to also, not rely upon SEO and search engines. You got to deal with that, and you have to have content, both video and written. But what we want to do then is, again, at each of these stages, make sure that we're being found and that our information is getting into the right hands. Okay, and this is where your actual plan comes into place. So I think the first thing is document what questions and then what answers advance to each stage. And then the system that you're going to start designing is you're going to say, okay, where are they asking these questions? And where, maybe they're not asking the questions in a certain place, and I'll explain what that means, but they are in a certain place, right? So if my ideal client is, let's say I'm selling marketing automation software, right? Where are the marketing decision makers? And that's the other thing, there's more than one decision maker, but the person that's researching is where they're hanging out. So what we want to think about is, first of all, are they at any point on Facebook? Are they at any point on YouTube, Google, LinkedIn? And they may be on Twitter, but I'm not going to really address that. I think these are kind of the big four that you want to think about. And then our goal is, we have probably a website, and this is what I'm seeing is central to most people's traffic and conversion plan, is they will buy ads, for example, on the Google Ad Network, that matches a keyword, the questions that are being asked, and someone thinks they're going to get an answer to that question, they're going to click the ad, and where are we sending it? We're sending it to the website. So this is where the system comes in, because this is not a great system for that, for a bunch of reasons. But there's, this has a role, but part of our traffic and conversion plan says, okay, let's make sure they're finding us here. The cheapest or the smartest way to do this is probably paid marketing. LinkedIn has really good organic reach. Hopefully you're watching this on LinkedIn and you agree, because they have pretty good organic reach, and ads are less prevalent, but there is a certain amount of type of communication there. So there is traffic that comes from this to somewhere. Google, obviously, on both the ad network and search engines, traffic's going to come from there because that's where they're usually asking for questions, and then we can find them again on websites that show Google Ads. And then YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. And some of the stats indicate that 50% of buying decisions, those questions are being asked and answered in videos. Okay, so it's logical that this is the biggest search engine and it's video content, that we want to make sure that we're obviously getting organic content, but also that we think about how do we do paid content, paid ads on YouTube, because they're researching on there and asking questions, and they're finding our ads so that we can drive them into our system. Okay, and then Facebook, you might say, well, this is a business buy, they're not going to be on Facebook, but that's not really true. There's like 2 billion people on Facebook, and whether it's on Instagram or Facebook, which is really kind of the same thing, and people are searching on their personal account, we want them to see our ads on there. Okay, and I'm going to talk about how you do that. So really, the idea is we want to obviously get traffic, and some of you may be spending money on some of this stuff today. Most likely what I'm seeing in our industry is there's a lot going on in Google and not so much on the other three. What I notice here is you're going to pay 25, 35 bucks for a click on Google, and then people are sending it to a website. And the problem with a website, number one, most websites that I'm seeing in software, IT services, don't actually have great content. So we're sending them to a website hoping they're going to look at us, being really impressed, and then contact us, right? But these are not designed right now for sales. Okay, so our system, I think, needs to change a little bit. And here's what I think we need to do is we need to create an automated traffic and conversion system. And what does this look like? Well, the idea is we want to get those anonymous visitors that would normally come to our website, and maybe they still are, but they're going to hit our website, and what are they doing? 95 to 99% of our traffic is probably bouncing. Okay? What we want to do is we want to get them to identify themselves by giving them an irresistible offer, and the irresistible offer is the answer to these questions typically, right? So if you are searching, for example, on how to grow your business as a software company, and you see an ad from Cloud Advisory that says, 3-step blueprint to grow, add 5 to 15 new high-value prospects each month using automated traffic and conversion. You're going to say, hey, yeah, that might be my answer. I click that ad. If I just send you to a general website and you're just navigating around the way you want, you're probably going to bounce, right? You're going to research. If you don't see what you want, I'm taking a big gamble, okay? It's going into the ocean of my website. But what I should be doing is actually creating more of a selling system, which consists of an irresistible offer, yes, on my website, but more importantly, this traffic should go to a landing page with some video content that reiterates what the solution to or the answer to their question is, and what your offer is. Is it a free training? Is it a checklist? Is it a guide? You can kind of think of quizzes, things that would answer the questions that they're searching for an answer to, right? So the way for me to control and make sure they get that content while still identifying themselves is I create this online system where they hit a landing page based upon that search term or based upon the information that's in an ad on another network, maybe YouTube or Facebook, or a post on LinkedIn. And then they can opt in. They identify themselves with an email and their name, and I send them a valuable training, or I send them a valuable video or a valuable ebook, right, that answers their question. So you can see where the questions and answers are a really important part of this. And there's a lot more to creating your plan, but that's high level what you want to do, right? And then the idea is, once they're identifying themselves, then I'm going to continue to try to help anticipate what their questions are and give them answers. And I'm going to try to get them to the point where they're understanding that, hey, I have answers to their questions. I can solve their problem. And at some point, they want to consider me as one of their alternatives to solve that problem. It might be here, it might be here. This is more like how, right? They're looking, but then they're like, okay, these are the different ways, and then these are the different providers, right? So somewhere in here, most likely, I want them to initiate a conversation with me, maybe, depending on what my sales model is. Or maybe it goes to my e-commerce store, depending on what industry you're in, right? Or maybe I have a very productized service, and I just, as part of my traffic and conversion system, want them to sign up, right? Those are all possibilities. Or I have a course, or whatever that digital product is, and whatever your sales model is, that's built into your traffic and conversion system. Okay, so your traffic and conversion at that point, now we're getting a little more strategic, right? We're anticipating a way, and we're thinking, how do we get them to identify themselves and to the point where they're in our sales process? And on the website, what I notice is one way that we are really kind of messing up is we're not remarketing. Part of our system needs to be retargeting and remarketing to people, so that if I go to your website and then I leave, which is most likely going to happen, when I go into one of these platforms, most likely these three, I should see another ad from you. I should see another video that's in as a sponsored ad on Facebook, on Instagram, on Google, on YouTube. Okay, so now I want to kind of follow them around using that code. And these are tools that are readily available, right? And the idea is that there has to be really effective ads. And again, they have to go into the system. Maybe it's another landing page. Maybe it's another offer. But this is what you're mapping out, is essentially this traffic conversion system, and then you're building the system accordingly, where there's a landing page or multiple landing pages with irresistible offers to opt in. You are optimizing the website, so yes, there's really good content there, but then based upon that content, you're also remarketing to them to get them into the funnel part of this system, right? So now we're building something that's much more elaborate. It automatically follows up. And then what we can focus on is asking or answering the right questions on these platforms to drive more traffic into the system so that when people reach these stages, we're grading and rating them in an automated fashion, and we know when to reach out to them, or we give them an easy way to connect with us or to buy from us. Okay? So this is really what I see. And IT services, software, SaaS don't do a great job of these things. 99 out of 100 of the websites, I think, okay, if I look at it, there's 100 websites that I looked at, right? 95 of them did not have an immediate call to action to opt into some irresistible offer, and none of them directed the questions that I was asking when I saw their ad, because they were spending money on Google AdWords, right? And I was typing in a particular query. I wasn't getting to the answer necessarily. I was navigating around their site. So we want to, really kind of like funnel the conversation so that they're immediately getting gratification. They're getting that answer to the question they're asking in the search engine. And then some of them had pixels, but they weren't remarketing to me. Maybe I wasn't in their geography and that's why, but most likely that's not the case based on what I was searching. So I would go back into Facebook or Instagram. I never saw one ad remarketing to try and re-engage me. And then there was no one, I think there was one, actually that's not true. There was 2 companies that I saw that actually had a separate funnel. It was part of their website, but it did kind of lock me into a flow of getting their lead magnet. So that was really good. But what we want to do for you is we want to start with those as the basics, where you have like one lead magnet, one opt-in, a sequence of follow-ups that are automatic, that are answering questions, anticipating them, and then get into the point where we're giving them the offer to go to the next step, which is upsell to a conversation or some sort of a purchase, depending on your sales model. So really, that's what a traffic and conversion plan is. It's like we want to create the plan, and then we build the system according to the plan so that this scales, and all we're focused on is getting more people that match your ideal client profile at the point where they're at one of these stages into that system. It's obviously not the only way to market to people, but inbound, the nice thing about it is when you get to the point to interacting with someone live, if that's your model, if you have a direct sales model or a hybrid, right, digital and direct, we're more likely to have a high value conversation, and the people that are either qualifying them or selling to them, the salespeople or the business development managers, they're having a conversation that's now advancing in the sales process, not just the buyer's journey, right? So it matches the buyer's journey to get them to the point where they're ready to really engage in the sales process, and kind of, that really is the last mile, right, where we close them. Or maybe it's just, they get an offer to buy from us on our e-commerce site. All right, so comment below if there's anything I've missed here, if there's any other traffic sources, or if there's any questions. Hopefully this is valuable to you. If you would like to get your own free traffic and conversion blueprint, I have created, basically, there is a worksheet that I will put a link to in the thread, and you can go and you can download it, and you can see all the questions that I would ask, because there's actually more than this, to kind of create your own traffic and conversion plan. And if you want to talk to someone, just message me, and I'm happy to DM with you and talk about your situation. All right, hope you have a great Friday, and let me know your thoughts and if there's anything I missed and if there's any questions you have.